You've got two nations, home to over 2 billion young minds, and they're both drawing up completely different blueprints for the future. We're going to dive into how India and China are reshaping their destinies, not just with money and industry, but through something way more fundamental, their education systems.
So, how exactly are these two global giants building that future? Well, the answer, and this probably won't come as a huge surprise, lies in one of the most powerful tools any country has at its disposal: how it teaches its kids.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because they've come to a fork in the road, and instead of taking the same route, India and China are drafting totally different blueprints for learning. Each one of these paths has massive implications, not just for them, but for the entire world. Let's start by looking at the basic structure.
Okay, first up, the foundation. We're talking about the actual structure of their school systems. You know, the journey a child takes from their very first day of school all the way up to graduation.
Right away, you can see the core difference in philosophy. China's approach? It's super essentialized, top-down, kind of like a perfectly oiled machine, designed to roll out changes quickly and uniformly across the whole country. India, on the other hand, is building something that's more like a sprawling banyan tree. It's designed to be flexible and adaptive, to work for a population that's just incredibly diverse.
So let's take a closer look at India's new model. This is all part of a huge reform called the National Education Policy 2020, and it is completely rewriting the rulebook on their old system.
And right at the heart of this whole thing is this simple-looking sequence of numbers: 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Now, this isn't just a catchy new name. It represents a radical shift in how a student's entire educational journey is structured, from beginning to end.
So what do these numbers actually mean? Well, that 5 right at the beginning, that's brand new. It signals a huge focus on early childhood education for kids from ages 3 to 8. Then, the next stages are broken up into more age-appropriate chunks. But the real goal here is to move away from just memorizing facts and towards what they call holistic development. More play, more discovery, and more activity-based learning.
Now let's put that next to China's model. Theirs is built on a solid foundation of 9 years of compulsory, free education for everyone. It's a uniform, nationwide system. The whole point is to make sure every single student, no matter where they live, gets the same standardized educational base. It's all about consistency and massive scale.
Okay, so that's the big picture structure. But what does it actually feel like inside the classroom? What's being prioritized on a day-to-day basis?
And this is where that philosophical divide gets even sharper. You see, China's system is pretty openly geared towards national growth and the economy. It's about creating a workforce that can power the country's ambitions. India's new policy, though, explicitly states that its main focus is the individual student and their overall personal development.
This focus on national goals shapes the way teaching is done in China. The classroom culture often revolves around intense discipline and a whole lot of prep for these incredibly high-stakes exams. These tests are seen as the absolute key to getting ahead in life.
Meanwhile, India is trying to sprint in the opposite direction. They're pushing for a big shift away from just rote memorization. The new goal is to foster creativity and critical thinking, to get students doing science experiments, debating history, and really developing a deep, genuine understanding of subjects, not just remembering facts for a test.
All right, let's talk tech, because in today's world, you just can't build an education system without it. So how are these two giants using digital tools to build the futures they're aiming for?
And what do you know, we see that same pattern again. China's approach to tech is all about speed, a super fast, advanced rollout of cutting-edge technology in schools. India is taking a more gradual path, focusing first on just making sure that the technology is accessible and inclusive for everybody. So the backbone of India's whole digital strategy is this platform called Diksha. The easiest way to think about it is like a massive national digital library. It's providing things like ebooks, videos, and other learning tools to students and teachers all over the country, trying to close that digital divide. India's plan is very deliberately step-by-step. Priority number 1 is just access, getting everyone online. Once that's in place, they start gradually introducing more advanced topics like coding, and then things like AI are saved for the higher grade levels. It's a very measured, build-it-from-the-ground-up strategy.
China's ambition, on the other hand, is on a completely different timeline. The goal is an incredibly fast integration of advanced tech into basically every classroom. And this isn't just about making learning better. It directly serves their national goal of becoming a global education and technology superpower by 2035. Technology is a tool for national advancement, period.
So as we start to wrap this up, it's pretty clear we're not just looking at a few different policies here. What we're really seeing are two fundamentally different philosophies about what the whole purpose of education even is.
When you lay it all out side by side, the two paths become crystal clear, right? China's is a path of centralized speed, focused on national growth, driven by discipline and high-stakes exams, and powered by a race for tech advancement. India's path is one of flexibility, focused on individual development, trying to foster creativity, and making sure everyone has inclusive access to technology.
And all of this leaves us with one final and really important question. Is the future best built through speed, centralization and control that's aimed at national goals? Or is it built through flexibility, creativity, and an approach that puts the individual first? The choices these two nations are making right now won't just define their own futures. They're going to give the rest of us a fascinating case study to watch for decades to come.